their first uniform, their first number, their first teammate, their first goal, their first coach. We take great care in making sure their first isn't their last. We're so much more than a soccer class. Come play with us today at kickstarttoddlersoccer.com.
Our mission is to help players take their game to the next level and reach their potential. We help players develop fundamental technical skills such as ball control in tight spaces, dribbling at speed and changing direction, using a variety of 1v1 skills, receiving and finishing from different situations such as volleys, headers, one touch, and off the dribble, with and without pressure. In addition, we help players increase their speed of play, dominate with their off-the-ball movement, awareness of space, defenders, and teammates. We offer a variety of services such as one-on-ones, small groups, as well as large groups and team sessions. We have an experienced coaching staff that is professional, friendly, patient, while still holding players to high standards and holding them accountable. Over the past 3 years, we've built one of the best soccer-specific training facilities in the country. We've also developed one of the most detail-oriented training programs to help out players. No matter what level you're at as a player, I'm confident we can help you get better. For more information, visit our website, evolutionperformancetraining.com, or text or call 248-818-3943.
Granite City Food and Brewery has 2 Michigan locations in Troy and Northville. Serves made-from-scratch food, brews in-house beer, and even has brunch every Sunday from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. To learn more about their daily specials or to book a private party, visit gcfb.com. Make sure you head over to Granite City in Northville at the corner of 7 Mile and Haggerty, or the Troy location at 16 Mile and I-75. Now Worrell has a good cutback from him. He'll fire one, and that's going to go in!
We like to do it before we go out on the weekend.
We do.
We do it every week.
Whether we need to or not.
We did it today.
It was really dirty.
My parents do it every day.
Hey, kiddo!
Do it every day with the Unlimited Club, only at Jack's Car Wash. Protect your car from the hot summer sun, dust, dirt, and contaminants all summer long with the Jack's Unlimited Club.
Join today, starting at just $24.99 a month.
Are you looking to grow here in 2023? Let the Michigan Soccer Network help you and your restaurant fill more seats. Help you and your law firm get new clients. Help you and your dental practice find more patients. Find more roofing customers for this upcoming summer. And to help you and your medical practice find new patients. To learn more or get started, visit MichiganSoccerNetwork.com.
I'm a husband. I'm a father.
I'm a sister.
I'm a son. I'm a brother.
I'm a daughter. I'm a sister.
I'm a referee.
I'm a referee.
I am a referee.
I'm a referee.
Don't just burn calories, torch those little suckers. Base Camp Fitness Troy, opening up this March, will help you get maximum results in half the time. Our intensity intervals of cardio and strength training will supercharge your calorie burn, all in just 35 minutes. Make sure to lock in our founders rate and claim your 2-week risk-free trial by scanning the QR code on your screen. Base Camp Fitness Troy, located at 443 East Big Beaver Road in Troy, Michigan.
Thank you for stopping by the Michigan Soccer Network. To not miss out on any of the action, all you have to do is simply hit the subscribe button, and that way you're notified every time we bring new content or go live. Thanks for stopping by.
I watch soccer on the Michigan Soccer Network.
I watch soccer on Michigan Soccer Network.
لا تنسون تتابعونا على Michigan Soccer Network.
I watch soccer on Michigan Soccer Network.
I like to watch soccer on Michigan Soccer Network.
I watch soccer on Michigan Soccer Network.
Me gusta mirar fútbol en Michigan Soccer Network.
I watch soccer on Michigan Soccer Network.
I love watching soccer on the Michigan Soccer Network.
Back to Vitriol. He'll take a shot and he'll bear it. And then he'll fire it from Billows and it'll go in. Now Worrell has a good cutback from him. He'll fire one and that's going to go in. Oh, then both goals so far. He'll fire one and that's a wonderful save, Trinity. That's missed. Oh, it's Stone in the. He'll fire one now from distance and that is in. What a strike by Ben Maher. Well, hello, everybody, and happy Monday night. It's February the 27th, the last Monday of the month, and you know what that means? It's MSN Weekly, slightly delayed. There was a ice storm here earlier today, so, I mean, it makes sense that we're a little later. But as we say in this room, you know, sleet, ice, rain, doesn't matter. We will go live whenever we can. We have a great show lined up here for you tonight. It is Championship Series Monday. We have in our studio tonight Alan Zakaria from Bloomfield Hills Blackhawks. His team, first ever state championship under the new school, and your first state championship as a head coach. As a head coach. So really, really excited to have you. Dan Stickrat, you're back. We know who you are. So
I was missing in action last week, but they found me.
Yes, you were missing in action last week, but you know, for good reason, right? I mean, sometimes, you know, the job calls, and last week it did for you. But a great show lined up here tonight. Alan, you know, first off, welcome into the studio. For those of you, anyone out there who does not know Alan Zakaria is, Alan, why don't you tell the audience, our viewers, a little bit about you?
Yeah, I'm the head coach at Bloomfield Hills High School. It's been my, I think, 9th year now. When I'm not coaching, I'm a physician. I own a practice, and I practice internal medicine, pediatrics, and sports medicine. I also work with the University of Michigan men's and women's soccer teams as their doctor. Grew up in Bloomfield Hills, and just really excited to be back working with Bloomfield Hills, and especially after our great year this year.
Yeah, 15-2 overall last year, based on the website from the MHSAA. I don't know if is that correct? 15-2?
Yeah, we had a couple of ties as well.
Yep. But yeah, won the state finals at last year to Martin Stadium, beating a solid Northville team 2-1 in a shootout. So, and we had a chance to have an interview with you right after that victory, because that happened on a Friday. We did our MSN on location, first ever on location at the state finals, and you actually came in live during that broadcast. So that was kind of fun. But now you're here in studio. We're not virtual anymore, but we're excited that you're here. Excited to have this conversation. And one of the first questions that I want to ask, I think this is a good one, is, as a former head coach myself, every year, you know, you're getting your team into a room, you know, after tryouts or even during that process, you're like, hey, you know, this is our year, right? I mean, no one, I mean, maybe there are some teams that go into it, you know, okay, it's not going to ever be our year. But, I mean, there are lots of programs, I think, that start, hey, we're going to try and win this thing. We're going to go for it, right? You know, you're watching your team, you're watching them play, you're watching them practice. Is this a team you thought at the beginning of the year was going to be there at the end?
Yes. And honestly, you know, I told my team this, and I told a lot of people this. It wasn't unexpected. I think we have a top program. I was actually pretty disappointed that we hadn't won one up until now. I think we've had some great years before, 2016, 2017, 18, even 21, 19. I mean, where things just didn't click. They didn't work out for us at the end of the season, where we had great seasons and didn't work out. But this year, you know, everything came together, and to be honest, it wasn't unexpected.
Okay. No, and that's good. I mean, like, you know, you think about it, you said there's lots of times you watch, and we had Todd Hugh here a few weeks ago, and there was a year that his team did not make it all the way to a state final, and that was the team that he said was the better team that he thought was going to go. And then when they won it, and maybe not been the better team he had, but that's sometimes how it shakes out. And when I won a state championship, we played, you know, the expectations for us to go that far it wasn't even there. I mean, at Athens, there is an expectation that you were going to win the thing every year. But we did not have necessarily the personnel
that year. We were kind of more in a rebuilding year, as they would call it, but we found a way to a state final and won it. And a lot of grind and a lot of grit, right? A lot of hard work. But you're looking at your first game of the season against Stony Creek High School. Now, I'm granted there's some games I'm sure that were kind of rained out or snowed out or, because it's Michigan in the spring. So we know how that kind of goes. But you won 1-0 against Stony Creek. And then the Waterford Our Lady of the Lakes game, I don't think it happened. I think there was another rain out or snow out or something. But then you faced off against Troy Athens, and you lost that 1-3-0. And then you saw Troy High 5-5. Talk about a 5-5 game, man. That's a high-powering game, scoring game. I mean, 2 OAA red teams, battling every year for a district title, district championship, and here you are. You lost the first one. You tied Troy High, and then went on to beat West Bloomfield 8-0. So, you start the season off you think about this, going against the Troy Athens. Is that a game where when you lose a game 3-0, especially early in the season like that, does that kind of weigh on the team a little bit in the first part of the season?
Yeah, it's early. We're still trying to figure out how we're going to play. I mean, yeah, absolutely. When we don't have any games before spring break and then you come back, you're still trying to figure out your team, your personnel, where you're going to play, what formation exactly fits you. And to be fair, we changed after the Athens game, and that really opened our eyes up to what we could be and how we wanted to change, and that was a big turning point for us.
Yeah, and I know, Dan, you probably have a question here too, a follow-up question, but because the OAA Red is the toughest, one of the toughest of leagues in the state. Right, we talk about this all the time on this show. You got the KLA, you've got the Macomb Red, MAC Red, you've got Oakland, the OAA Red, toughest leagues in this area. Matter of fact, 3 of the 4 teams in both Division I boys and girls soccer came from Oakland County, right? It was an Oakland County matchup, Northfield versus Bloomfield in the the
Yeah, Northfield dips in.
Dips
into the southern tip of Oakland County just a little bit.
But it's still Oakland County teams, right? I mean, the Rochester Adams versus Rockford, so that's the only team from the west side of the state in Division I. But you think about that and say it's a tough schedule. You're fighting you're battling every single night in, night out in this league. Talk about that and how that helps prepare you for a run in the playoffs.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, just playing those teams, week in, week out, Adams and Athens and Troy High and Stony and Rochester, it really puts you to the test, and it shows, where your strengths are and really exposes your weaknesses. And so, you come into the playoffs and it's like, well, we played in the OAA Red. We're ready for this. We've played the top teams in the state, and I think that gives you confidence, and it's also shows you throughout the year, if you learn, where you can improve and how you can be successful.
Yeah, when we saw it last spring, where 6 of the top 15 teams in Division I all came from the OAA Red, and then Lake Orion, which finished last in your league, still won a district. They had some injury issues early in the year, but kind of got hot at the end of the season. And in the Final Four, 2 of the 4 teams in Division I were from your conference. So I think, the old adage about, being battle-tested, it really helped. You make that run, and you had the chance for the championship, and you seize the opportunity.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, it was that you have to do that. I mean, if you don't play tough teams during the year, you're not going to grow, you're not going to be tested, and you're not going to be ready. And I think having those opportunities through the year and playing in such a unbelievable league, you're just ready for playoffs when you do, go in week out against those teams.
And you think about this too. You're facing off against, obviously, OAA Red, OAA White. The White's is a tough conference still, too, right? You've got the Birmingham Groves and the Seaholms in there. They've, over the years, have been pretty good opponents. Seaholm, I think, is maybe on a little bit of a downturn the last couple of years, but that's normal when you start to see some roster moves and players graduating. But it's a team you beat 7-1 in that matchup back on the 5th of May 5th, Cinco de Mayo. Good day.
He's always got to move stuff into something to do with food. Always.
Tacos. I mean, who doesn't like tacos? I mean, it's Taco Tuesday tomorrow at my house. But Rochester Adams, you faced off against them. You won 2-0 back on April the 26th. But the team that was, and I think going into this season, a team we're going to be talking a lot about is Rochester. They have a very good team. Doug's got a good team returning. Someone I'm sure will be in the conversation. They went all the way to a state semifinal last year. A team you lost to 4-3. A lot of these games, Alan, high scoring. I mean, 4-3, 8-0, 5-3, 5-5. A lot of goal scoring happening during your games.
Yeah. Well, we had a very offensive-laden team last year. We had a lot of really good attacking talent. That Rochester game was like a state final. I mean, that was back and forth, and I think Doug would say the same thing. Just a great game, and they scored a goal to win the game in the last minute to pull off the win, and deservedly so. They played outstanding in that game. But yeah, just shows how good the OAA Red is and what it did to help us throughout the year. But yeah, lots of goals, with our attacking talent this year as well.
No question about that. It is 8:26. We got a 15-minute late start. No one's fault, of course. Just the weather.
I don't feel tardy.
It's Monday night. And you know what that means? It's Granite City Build Your Own Burger. Monday night, $6 Build Your Own Burgers, $10 Granite City Pitchers, $6 Growler Fills. So if you still have time, it's 8:30. They close at 10. An hour and a half to get your $6 burger. Tomorrow is Taco Tuesday. Wednesday is Pasta Wednesday. $11.99 pasta entrees, and all you can eat garlic bread and salad. That's good for the doctor.
And now I'm hungry again.
And then half off bottles of wine. App Thursday, and of course Fish Friday. I had fish this past Friday at Granite City, so good stuff. We come back from break. We'll continue our conversation with Alan Zakaria right here on MSN Weekly. It's Championship Series week. We'll be back.
Looking to grow here in 2023? Let the Michigan Soccer Network help you and your restaurant fill more seats. Help you and your law firm get new clients. Help you and your dental practice find more patients. Find more roofing customers for this upcoming summer. And to help you and your medical practice find new patients. To learn more or get started, visit MichiganSoccerNetwork.com. Don't just burn calories, torch those little suckers. Base Camp Fitness Troy, opening up this March, will help you get maximum results in half the time. Our intensity intervals of cardio and strength training will supercharge your calorie burn, all in just 35 minutes. Make sure to lock in our founders rate and claim your 2-week risk-free trial by scanning the QR code on your screen. Base Camp Fitness Troy, located at 443 East Big Beaver Road in Troy, Michigan. Granite City Food and Brewery has 2 Michigan locations in Troy and Northville. Serves made-from-scratch food, brews in-house beer, and even has brunch every Sunday from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. To learn more about their daily specials or to book a private party, visit gcfb.com. Make sure you head over to Granite City in Northville at the corner of 7 Mile and Haggerty, or the Troy location at 16 Mile and I-75.
Thank you for stopping by the Michigan Soccer Network. To not miss out on any of the action, all you have to do is simply hit the subscribe button, and that way you're notified every time we bring new content or go live. Thanks for stopping by.
Saying action. Yeah. And action. Hi, we're the Tilley Sisters.
And check out,
We're the Tilley Sisters.
Check out our journey on the Michigan Soccer Network.
You weren't looking up. Hi, we're the Tilley Sisters.
And you can check out our journey on the Michigan Soccer Network.
Do it around the, all right. I'll just go like this. All right. Oh, wait, what are we saying?
Welcome back here once again. We are in Premier Sports Center studio right here at Premier Sports Center in Shelby Township, Michigan. A future commercial coming your way here soon. But before we head into the conversation again with Alan Zakaria, Base Camp Fitness of Troy coming soon here. March opening here this upcoming March. Maximum results in half the time. I don't even know what that even means because it sounds like it's a lot of work in a short amount of time. But Base Camp Fitness Troy will open in March, offering 35-minute high-intensity interval training HIIT workouts for the whole body. Oh my goodness. So head over to their website, which is basecampfitnesstroy.com. There's also a QR code that will be available here after the show where you can get a free, risk-free trial, 2 weeks, and their founder member pricing. So we'll have that available here a little later. But let's hop back into this conversation. It's championship series time as we continue this conversation with Alan Zakaria. Alan, again, thank you again for being here tonight. I know he had a 33-minute drive to get here.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Precisely 33 minutes and 12 seconds.
So let's continue this conversation. Looking at your schedule. I mean, I know that you said you had a couple ties in there, but so 15-2-2. It's a phenomenal record based on the opponents that you saw. I don't think people realize how difficult it is towards the end of a season to be able to go into a run, right? Because you have to win every game in order to win in a state final. You have to win every game. It's not easy to do. Right. I mean, you could have a really good, and the reality is too, that a lot of these games too, Alan, can be one of those games where you have this really hard fought battle and then you got to come back a couple days later and do it all over again. And that's the hardest thing for teams who are coming off of a high to continue to play at that high, the next level. Because a lot of times you'll see that drop. You'll see it all the time. You'll see a hard fought battle that ends in a shootout. And now the next game, it's almost like there's a hangover to it. And so how do you get your team after a hard-fought game, and get them ready to go again? Because that's the hardest part.
Yeah, I think it comes back to culture.
Okay.
And I think that's huge, and having mental toughness and resilience. And you got to, that comes back to the OAA Red schedule that we played, and we played that tough schedule throughout the year. And so I just feel like we were ready for a run like that. And then I think, as I mentioned earlier, just good culture, team toughness, resilience, and being able to make sure that your players can also recover physically as well, moving into that.
And that helps, obviously, the fact that you're in sports medicine, right? So that helps with giving and coaching and helping in that regard. I don't have that background. Dan doesn't have it either. So
definitely not.
I relied heavily on my trainers at Groves when I was at Groves. But let's talk about the end of the season. You play against a Notre Dame prep team. It was a 0-0 tie. Jimmy Statura, obviously, you know very, very well. I think you were as a coaching staff at Troy High still. So you tie that game on the 12th of May. Then you head to Farmington, and that's you just 7-0. And then you take on a Romeo team and win that, and they come out and Romeo out of the MAC. I don't think the MAC white or red. They were in the white this year for boys. I'm not sure if
I think they got moved up to the red a couple years ago on the girls' side, not the boys.
So you won that game 3-0. Your first game of the playoffs is on May 31st. All right, so just after Memorial Day, and you're taking on a Waterford Mott team, and you win that game 8-0. So that ends in a mercy. So that makes things a little easier to kind of start that run, right? Gives some good confidence, and then you come in and you play against a Walled Lake Northern team on June 2nd. Talk about that game. It's a 2-0 game. Obviously, we weren't there, but what was that game like for your team?
Well, a lot of people don't know this, but we had a red card in that game.
Oh,
and
we did not. Yeah, we did not know that.
Yeah, so we went up 1-0, and then got a red card. I think maybe we were up 2-0 actually, and had a red card and had to play a man down for 50 minutes in a district final. And so that again puts your program, your culture, really to the test to see what you're made of. And I think obviously our girls passed with flying colors. They adjusted really well to the adjustments that we made to make sure that we understood how we were going to play. And to be fair, we had a lot of opportunities actually to score a man down. And our defense, our goalkeeper was outstanding, and then came out with that victory.
I did not know that. And winning a district final or district championship is really, really important. It's the first step. And a lot of times we were talking about this with Todd Hugh, and we've mentioned it with Jimmy Statura, is like a lot of times district championships oftentimes almost play like a state championship, or even that first round of regionals, which we'll get to in a second. And you played a familiar foe in the Lake Orion team. And Lake Orion the last number of years have made deep playoff runs with their girls teams. They've gone to regionals, semis, and finals. I think 2 years ago they went to final and lost. But you play against Lake Orion in that first round of regionals. It's a 4-2 game. Again, we weren't there at that game. So how'd that game go?
Yeah, it's tough because we played them earlier in the year. So to have to beat a team a second time is always really difficult. I thought they were very well coached and they played well, and it was a tough one for us. And I think, we scored our goals, but then at the end they were coming at us and scoring goals to make it a little bit closer. And but then just getting that victory and then just getting the opportunity to compete for a regional championship was huge.
No question, because you did face them back on the 10th of May. You won that one 4-0, so they were able to find a way to get 2 goals in that rematch. And then, you go in the regional final and you're playing against a Heartland team, right? A Heartland team that you win 2-1. So let's talk about that one, because this one leads you into a state semi.
Yeah, I mean, playing the defending state champs, a huge game, and they were extremely talented. They had a player, I think it was Hannah Castamo, who just scored a bomb against us, just against the run of play, 25-yard bomb, upper 90. And to be fair, I haven't seen a goal like that in a couple of years in high school soccer. And, they were just, I think they had gone through the whole year before winning a state title, and then they won 3 or 4 games. So they were on a 10-game unbeaten streak at the end of the year. And to come out there and the way we scored our last goal, I think it was 20 minutes to go, played in our winger, Esty Rosette, and she scored a beautiful goal to win the game 2-1. And then we held on and really defended for the last 10, 15 minutes when they really came at us at pressure to win our first regional championship.
And that feeling, because, as we go through this path, as a player, I remember what the feeling was like, right? Running onto that field, the moment, exciting, and then there's a trophy, right? Because each of these levels is a trophy, right? You win a district, trophy, regional, trophy. So what's it like to hoist that trophy for the first time, that regional trophy?
Yeah, I mean, it was great. The thing I'll always remember is the joy on the girls' faces. I'll never forget the joy with the goals they scored. That second goal that we scored against Heartland, I can still see it. There was a beautiful picture in the, I think it's the Birmingham Eccentric, that had a picture of our girls dogpiling on each other after that goal, and I still have that memory, in my brain and at my house in a newspaper clipping, and just to see the joy on the girls' faces, I mean, that means everything to me, and to see that was just beautiful.
Which now leads us, so you win a regional championship, and you have 1 game to go to get to the ship, right? It's Portage Central standing in your way on June 14th. Talk about that game. It's a 1-0 victory in your favor. Well, talk about that game.
Yeah, so we travel out to, I believe it was Holt, mid-Michigan. The thing I've realized, I've been an assistant for years before I was a head coach, so I've been through this before, been far, as an assistant coach, but I didn't have everything that comes with being a head coach going far. And there's a lot of other distractions. You got to figure out travel. You got to figure out media responsibilities. You got to figure out a lot of other things. So I think when you get to the semifinals and the finals, a lot of those things kind of come onto your plate that you got to manage. But, we go out there and played a really, really strong team. And it was just a gritty game. And we had a couple good chances. We scored on our one chance. And really, again, great in attack, great defensively. And really exciting, again, to win that, knowing that we have a chance to compete for a state championship.
And we're going to talk about that. I want to dedicate, obviously a good chunk of the rest of this conversation to that, because I've been to a state championship myself twice as a player, and there's a lot that goes into it. And I don't think that the average person at home knows what that process is like. And it's different for every school. At my school, when we won the semifinal, the next day was like, there was a lot going on. We were going to tuxedo shops to get tuxedos. We were, we were like all these things because we wanted to wear tuxedos to school the day before the semifinal. And things have changed because semifinals now are typically on a Tuesday or Wednesday leading up to a state semifinal. And then because now the finals are on Fridays and Saturdays. It used to be on Saturday all across the state, and now it's at DeMartin Stadium on Friday and Saturday. So the semifinals have been on a Tuesday.
I believe so, yeah.
And that gives you a day of rest, and then you have 2 days to get ready for the final.
Yeah, because you'll have Division 1 and 4 on Saturday this year, I believe, for the state finals.
Oh, is that right?
So
they've changed it.
I think they flip flop every year.
Mm.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna head to break, because I want to give this whole thing an opportunity to I think to at least just respect it deserves. Talk about this moment because it's a special moment. Having the opportunity, to get through into a state final and that process. So when we come back from break, we'll get into that. before we head to break, I want to remind everybody you guys subscribe. If you're here for the first time and you're watching us on Facebook or LinkedIn and Twitter and all the new platforms that we're on, share, follow, like us on YouTube. This will be available tomorrow, by the way, on all listing platforms as well. So it's not like we're just going to get through this. But either way, when we come back from break, we'll continue this conversation with Alan Zakaria here on Championship Series not weekend. The weekend's over. Oops, it's Monday. I have a case of the Mondays. We'll be back on MSN Weekly.
Our mission is to help players take their game to the next level and reach their potential. We help players develop fundamental technical skills such as ball control in tight spaces, dribbling at speed and changing direction, using a variety of 1v1 skills, receiving and finishing from different situations such as volleys, headers, one touch, and off the dribble, with and without pressure. In addition, we help players increase their speed of play, dominate with their off-the-ball movement, awareness of space, defenders, and teammates. We offer a variety of services such as one-on-ones, small groups, as well as large groups and team sessions. We have an experienced coaching staff that is professional, friendly, patient, while still holding players to high standards and holding them accountable. Over the past 3 years, we've built one of the best soccer-specific training facilities in the country. We've also developed one of the most detail-oriented training programs to help out players. No matter what level you're at as a player, I'm confident we can help you get better. For more information, visit our website, evolutionperformancetraining.com, or text or call 248-818-3943.
Now Worrell has a good cutback from him. He'll fire one, and that's going to go in!
Call or two, or they think they saw something, and then that kid from that team goes into a tackle extra hard, and now his emotion, he gets up pushing and shoving, and so there's sometimes those things can transpire and push themselves into the game, which is not what we want. And of course,
Steve, we have our first phone call.
We got a phone call.
We have a phone call.
Oh, well, well, John, I mean, if we got a phone call, we should probably take the phone call.
So thank you for calling in here to the Overlap Show here with Steve and John. Who we have on the line?
Yeah, it's Jacob Little.
Well, Jacob Little. There.
Oh, he even put his whole name out there. I was expecting John from Detroit just to call and be safe.
He's gonna say first time, long time is what he's gonna say.
Welcome in, Jacob.
So welcome into the show. Your comments here on parents being better or worse.
I'm a husband. I'm a father.
I'm a sister.
I'm a son. I'm a brother.
I'm a daughter. I'm a sister.
I'm a referee.
I'm a referee.
I am a referee.
I'm a referee. To do it before we go out on the weekend.
We do. We do it every week.
Whether we need to or not.
We did it today.
It was really dirty.
My parents do it every day.
Hey, kiddo!
Do it every day with the Unlimited Club only at Jack's Car Wash. Protect your car from the hot summer sun, dust, dirt, and contaminants all summer long with the Jack's Unlimited Club.
Join today, starting at just $24.99 a month.
Welcome back here into our Premier Sports Center studios in Shelby Township, Michigan. My name is Jonathan Turner, Dan Stickert, Alan Zakaria. We're here, MSN Weekly. It's Monday night, the last Monday of March, and we have a good one here with Alan Zakaria. It's Championship Series Monday. We'll have Josh Hickey from Rochester Adams next week here in studio to talk about the Rochester Adams victory this past year, Division I over Rockford in the finals, and that. So that'll be fun. Before we get into the further conversation here, FC Barcelona Soccer Camp is an exclusive opportunity to learn the mythologies of the unique Barca style. FC Barcelona coaches will arrive across the United States to conduct training sessions and teach you the techniques of one of the most successful soccer academies in the world, That's right, the World. They're coming this July 3rd through the 7th, and they're going to the Legacy Sports Center in Brighton. And all you have to do is go to FC Barcelona Camps. I'll have the link in our description here a little bit later. And click on that link. You'll save $30 off registration by simply typing in FCB MSN. And not bad. It's an opportunity to train with some of the best in the world as we bring back in the conversation now about this Bloomfield Hills Blackhawks that went all the way to a state final. And let's talk about that. So you win a semifinal game. And now there's a whole bunch of stuff. It's not just soccer anymore. Now it's everything. So what's that like? You get the win. What's the first step for you as a coach?
Yeah, it's to get ready to win a state championship, so figure out who the opponent is and start preparing right away. Not a lot changes. You're not going to change a lot in the last game. You know who you are, and you know your strengths, your weaknesses, and but there, as I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of other things that kind of come on as a head coach. And, thank God I've got an unbelievable coaching staff. I have unbelievable boosters, unbelievable administration. And that helps. That makes a huge difference when you're getting to the state final because you have all that support to figure out logistics of food and travel and to figure out, all the things that the MHSAA wants from you that's outside of just preparing for the game. And so I think that support really makes a huge difference as well.
Okay. So, as we talk about this, so you win it on a Tuesday. Obviously the next day is going to probably be a lighter training day, right? I mean, recovery is really important, especially after going through all these games. And they've changed the way they do districts and all these playoffs. It used to be where, it was boom, 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 right? 3 games in a week. And then you had 2 games of regionals next week. And then you had your semifinal, final. And they spread it out now, which is a lot different. And
a lot of the pre-district games are actually played just before Memorial Day, which I think is a great thing for spring sports. Gives you a couple extra days, but chance to heal. Yeah, that's a lot to be able to win 3 games in 5 days in a district, especially in some of these districts where every other team is ranked.
Absolutely, and I think the thing that we don't think about, I do of course as a doctor, is injuries. I mean, and I think that's the biggest thing that spreading it out has really helped is with recovery and preventing those injuries and recovering from them.
And so that timing makes a difference. And so now it's Wednesday. You're recovering. You're not just preparing for practice. You're preparing for a bus ride, to DeMartin Stadium on a Friday, right? Your game is at the first game of the day, right? At Division 1 or are they second?
I think we were second game.
Yeah, they're second game. Okay, so you're the second game. I think Division 2 took place earlier that day, and they played first, I think. But you're now preparing. So what are you doing as far as with the team to prepare for, team dinners or things like that to get this team really, really more bonded, ready for that state final?
Yeah, I think, you just, it's like you plan out those practices in the game and everything is, to the minute and detailed, and for us, it's about keeping the camaraderie together. It's about keeping the team together and connected, a lot of sports psychology, a lot of, just keeping sharp on the field and making sure that we're sharp and ready to go, preparing for our tough opponent. We know it's going to be the toughest opponent we played all year in a state final. And just making sure that we're in the right mental mind frame, to compete and win a state championship.
So when I was at Athens in the 90s, Tim Storch did this, and Tim Storch just retired from soccer in Michigan here just this past October. And one of the things that we did as far as a tournament run is every game he would come up to the board and be like, okay, so this team has 8 seniors, right? We're going to send them home. We're going to send them home, right? And then it'd be okay. So it'd be the 8, and then the next game, like this team has 7 seniors, so we're sending them home. So it's 15 now. We sent home, right? So there's like this tally of seniors that we were retiring. Is there? I'm not saying I'm not putting you in the spot here, but are there things like that you do to help motivate players? Because I feel like in these types of environments, right? Hey, you're the senior, you don't want to go home, but you want to send that senior home, and it's as terrible as that sounds, you still want to send them home and not you. So is that something that you do as a coach or have thought of, or is that not something that you stay away from?
To some regard, in a different way.
Okay.
I think, it's a lot of sports psychology at that point, know, and it's, you can psych yourself out or you can psych yourself up. And, and I think that our girls did a really good job. I think my coaching staff did a great job together with that, and just keeping us in the right mind frame. And unless you've been to a state final and competed in it, you don't really know.
Yeah.
Until you're there coaching, you just don't know. And but I think we were in the right mind frame. We were confident. We were ready. We were hungry. And there's no better feeling in the world than winning it.
In the 3 teams you beat in the regional finals, semis, and finals were 3 senior-laden teams. All 3 were ranked in the top 10 going in. And all 3 of those schools had won state championships in their history. And here, Bloomfield Hills had never won one in girls soccer. Lazar won a couple, independent from Andover before the merger in 2013. So what was that like to be able to hoist that trophy and put a banner on the gym walls? It was the first one in girls soccer, because I think the schools won a couple in tennis, correct?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. No, I think it didn't hit me until later. When you're in the moment, you're just in the moment. But as the days go on and the weeks go on and the months go on, I think the magnitude increases, and you really see the great accomplishment, because then you look back and see, wow, we're the first soccer team in Bloomfield Hills to do this, and we're one of the only teams ever at Bloomfield Hills High School to win a state championship. So I think it really kicks in. When you're there, you're just in the moment. We're giving the girls the trophy, they're hoisting it, we're watching them, it's joy, it's fun. And then afterwards, you're like, oh, that's pretty special, and it doesn't really hit you in the moment, because you're just in the moment and enjoying it.
And you never know. It may not ever happen again.
I hope so.
I mean, you can always hope so, but I'm saying you never know. Everything has to go right to win a state championship in high school sports.
You have to you have to have the luck. You got to have things have to go your way. The calls have to go your way, because a lot of times, again, things can happen. And this leads me to my next question is, so it's Thursday night, right? So the kids are missing school on Friday, right, to be at this game. This is the game, no school. Well, actually, take it back. Their school, for the most part, was done, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So I keep forgetting that. Back when I was in school, it was still school.
Was there finals that Friday?
Or
did they finish the day before? Because a lot of public schools finished that week.
Yeah, I have to remember. Seniors were way done.
Yeah,
by
true.
A couple weeks, but I can't remember exactly. I think they may have been done.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here it is. It's it's Thursday night, right? And it's the day before the game. I'm assuming that there is some team building, dinners, and movies, or what, everyone's together probably on that Thursday night. What's that Thursday night like?
Yeah, it's really about keeping them together. Keeping it light, keeping it fun. Having like I said, keeping them sharp physically, and making sure that our touches are on, and making sure we're in the right mind frame. We're not going to change anything drastically at the last minute. It's just fine tuning at that point, and making sure that we're ready mentally, physically, spiritually, to be ready to play the best game.
So it's the night before the game. Yeah, I'm sure players were all. I remember it was really difficult to find find the way to fall asleep. It's hard to to explain, but like those butterflies that are in your stomach, they're just it's some people that do it differently. But how'd you sleep that night?
Not so well.
Not terrible. Not great.
Okay.
Yeah, I probably didn't get the best sleep, because there's just so much on your mind about what you want to do and how things can go. And what's crazy is when we all know it as athletes. It's you have that until the game starts, and the game starts, and you're just in the moment.
Yeah.
And it just all goes away, and that's the crazy part. And I try to keep reminding myself of that. Is like, you get so anxious about this and that, and think about this and that, and then the game starts, you just play, and you're just coaching, and you're in the moment, and that's it all just goes away at that point.
Is it almost like a surreal feeling to be able to play in a championship final, to actually be there? Because everyone talks about, hey, I want to win a state championship in high school. I want to get to the NCAA championship in college. I want to be a pro and play for MLS title, win the World Series, play the NHL finals, whatever, for the Stanley Cup. But let's be honest, most of us never even come close to getting a taste of something like that.
Yeah, it's special. I've been very fortunate. It wasn't my first state final. I'd been to a number of state finals as a coach. This is my first one as a head coach.
Okay.
I'd been to a number with Losser and East Lansing when I coached at East Lansing, in state finals and won them. So it was very comfortable for me in a lot of ways, because I'd experienced it before. which I think gave us a little bit of an advantage. I thought everything at DeMartin Stadium was, first class. I mean, the announcing, the referees, the pregame, the postgame, everything was done at a different level. That was very impressive to me. I thought the way that everything was handled was first class, and I felt that as a coach, and I'm sure Northville felt the same way. So that was really cool to experience.
Yeah, the atmosphere there is great because you have the soccer stadium and you have softball and then baseball side by side, all having their Final Four on the same weekend. It was just when you walk into that complex, did you kind of feel something different?
Oh yeah, I mean you can't walk in, can't help but walk in with a smile on your face and be like, this is what it's all about. This is what we dream for, and you don't know exactly what it looks like until you've been there to be able to walk in an hour before and to see the fans in the stands and to see our banners being put up and our fans coming in there. It's just it's a really cool experience.
Well, when we come back from break, I want to get into the day, right? The morning, the drive. What it's like being on that sideline, because it's I remember what it was like as a player. I want to talk about what it was like for you. So we'll continue this conversation with Alan Zakaria here on their side of the break. Before we head to break, let's talk about Evolution Soccer. Kevin Tapcham and Evolution Soccer Training is now offering 4 finishing Fridays. Every Friday from 7 to 8 p.m., players will receive specialized training dedicated to enhancing your ability to score goals. Maybe bring some of the Blackhawks players who scored a bunch of goals last year to show them how it's done. All right, because they scored a lot of goals last year. But visit evolutionperformancetraining.com and use promo code MSN10 to get 10% off your sessions today. $25 a session. 4 sessions is what you'll get. You're watching MSN Weekly here on this Monday night on the Michigan Soccer Network. We'll be back here on the other side of the break. Just a few moments.
Are you looking to grow here in 2023? Let the Michigan Soccer Network help you and your restaurant fill more seats. Help you and your law firm get new clients. Help you and your dental practice find more patients. Find more roofing customers for this upcoming summer. And to help you and your medical practice find new patients. To learn more or get started, visit MichiganSoccerNetwork.com. Don't just burn calories, torch those little suckers. Base Camp Fitness Troy, opening up this March, will help you get maximum results in half the time. Our intensity intervals of cardio and strength training will supercharge your calorie burn, all in just 35 minutes. Make sure to lock in our founder's rate and claim your 2-week risk-free trial by scanning the QR code on your screen. Base Camp Fitness Troy, located at 443 East Big Beaver Road in Troy, Michigan. Granite City Food and Brewery has 2 Michigan locations in Troy and Northville. Serves made-from-scratch food, brews in-house beer, and even has brunch every Sunday from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. To learn more about their daily specials or to book a private party, visit gcfb.com. Make sure you head over to Granite City in Northville at the corner of 7 Mile and Haggerty, or the Troy location at 16 Mile and I-75.
Thank you for stopping by the Michigan Soccer Network. To not miss out on any of the action, all you have to do is simply hit the subscribe button, and that way you're notified every time we bring new content or go live. Thanks for stopping by.
Saying action. Go. And action. Hi, we're the Tilly Sisters.
And check out,
We're the Tilly Sisters.
Check out our journey on the Michigan Soccer Network.
You weren't looking. Hi, we're the Tilly sisters.
And you can check out our journey on the Michigan Soccer Network.
Do it around the, all right. I'll just go like this. All right. Wait, what are we saying?
Welcome back here once again into MSN Studios, Premier Sports Center here in Michigan. I'm joined by Alan Zakaria, Dan Stickrad. It's MSN Weekly. I want to remind every tomorrow morning on the morning overlap, Steve will not be with me, but Craig Hearn will. So Craig Hearn from We Are Soccer will join me here tomorrow as we talk about hiring a U.S. soccer coach. What does it even look like? Nobody knows. Maybe we do. Maybe we have all the answers. We have a winning coach right here. Maybe the USA should call Alan. You know, a championship. I mean, what the heck, right?
Something's got to change,
Something
right?
tells me I might get laughed out of the broadcast booth tomorrow if I were to do that. But either way, Alan Zakaria, we want to get into now. It's Friday morning. There's a bus ride, right? I'm assuming some teams might stay a hotel the night before if it's an earlier game. But it's an hour and a half drive. So you hop on a bus. It's about an hour. It's an hour and a half bus ride from Troy, I think, give or take.
Yeah, it was roughly about an hour and a half.
So you gotta get on a bus. What time do you guys get on a bus at?
Oh boy, what did we have? Game was at 4 o'clock or something like that. I think we wanted to be there at like 2:30.
Okay.
So made sure we got there around 2:30. Made sure there's no problems whatsoever. Have plenty of time to get there. And it's just fun for the girls, just being there, taking lots of pictures. Having fun, making sure they're well hydrated, make sure that they got good food in their body, ready to compete at 4 o'clock. Again, that's where the sports medicine comes in for me to help, prepare for that and understanding the nutrition standpoint and the hydration and the preparation for that. So I think just all those little details and then just have them having fun and having good camaraderie going up on the bus together.
I'm thinking about this, and I know that when I was coaching, it was always like those afternoon games always were a struggle for my boys' team. It's like, your game's normally at 7 o'clock, and now you're playing Cranbrook at 5. And it like throws off everything because they come in. They have a process. They get home from school and they go do a snack and then they come to practice. But now you're skipping your snack. You're not taking your nap, and you have to play a game. And now here, your ladies, these girls are traveling on a bus while they would normally have been in school possibly, and now they're playing in front of 2,000 people at 3:30 or 4 o'clock on a Friday. Was there any part of your message about that? Because, there's the game, but then it's a different time period. It's how do you prepare yourself for that?
Yeah, I think it's asking what do you guys need?
Yeah.
What do you guys need to prepare? What kind of food do you guys want? What do you guys need? What kind of a, bus do you want to take up there, et cetera? How do you want to get up there and be ready to play your best? So I think it's just communicating with them and just getting their feedback. So they feel comfortable and they have everything that they need to perform at their best. And they gave us great feedback with what they wanted and we provided it for them.
What was it like with the being afternoon games? Because you get into mid-June and you have soccer, baseball, and softball going on, but it's hot.
Yeah.
It's not like a 7 o'clock kickoff. It's hot.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember one year, I think it was Troy played Okemos in the girls' final, like early 2000, like 11 or 12, somewhere around there. They had that water breaks like the middle of each half because it was really hot. It was, with the humidity, we were pushing 100 degrees.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's no doubt you got to prepare for that. All those little details come in and you got to look for that. I remember it was hot. I don't think it was scorching, thank God, but thank God it wasn't, because if it was, that plays a huge role in performance and playing at your best, during that time.
So, you're in the locker room and locker rooms.
Yeah, I think we just stayed on the field though. We just
So, there's a moment, right? There's a moment you're having with your team, where it's, hey, we've seen them in movies like The Miracle. You're seeing these moments where it's like they've had their time. It's your time. We're hearing these different speeches, right? You could have Sylvester Stallone in the palm of your hand with his son. Remember, like in that whatever one of the last Rockies that he was in. What is your message to your team? What as a coach can you even say in that moment to give them whatever spark they may or may not need?
Yeah, to me, it was just keeping it as normal as possible, and just, I did tell them, enjoy it, take a look around. I remember working with Nick Archer in East Lansing, and I remember one thing he said when we won the state title in 2002 is he said to the team and to the coaches is just take a look, enjoy the moment. And that's always really stayed with me, And so the first thing I did when I got there, and, that's his backyard, is I just, took a look around, took some pictures in my own brain and just really captured that. And I told our girls the same thing, to do that. But a lot of it is just normalcy. It's just keeping everything the same. We had a process of how we did things. Now wasn't the time to change anything. Now is the time to keep it as normal as possible, and make sure that they felt comfortable in that moment.
It seems like the level-headed way is the right way, right? I mean, because I think that at the moment, I mean, and a lot of times we have this conversation as players, and even as a coach myself, you can overthink it, right? And you can psych yourself out. I mean, there were many players, that I played with that you could see them have these glazed eyes, they were, they just weren't. They were so hyped up, so psyched up that they just were flat. So the game starts. The first whistle is starting to go, right? Underway. How does the team start?
Yeah, I think we got off to, if I recall, maybe a little bit of a slower start, but then we just kind of got our rhythm. After about 5-10 minutes, just kind of, I think both teams feeling each other out, and then we just started to get our rhythm. I think throughout the game we had 3 goals called back or something with offsides. Or
yeah,
something like that.
I think Norfolk had a number of them. A couple of them that they had come back from goal offside positions.
Yeah, we did.
And then you as well, yeah.
Yeah, and so I think that really tests you, in the middle of a game. Just that momentum. When you score a goal and then it's like, oh,
especially the crowd, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's 2,000 people. That stadium. I mean, when we were there for the on Saturday. With that, like you said, with the announcer and with that crowd, it's something special. I don't remember the crowd like that at Andover when I was in 1997. It didn't seem like that, at least. But either way, so it's you're going back and forth. This game goes into overtime. So I mean, I would imagine, the butterflies, start to pick up in your belly, when it gets into overtime. Right. What's that feeling like? What's going through your brain as a coach at that moment?
Yeah, for me, it was trying to stay in the moment and also just really trying to, talk about the importance of grit, resilience, mental toughness. And again, that's where the culture comes in. And that starts from day one, and that started in the off season. And I think that's really what, carries you in big moments like that, and if you don't have that, you're going to fall flat. And we had a great culture. We had great leadership from our senior class. Great mental toughness. When you score those goals and then it's like, oh, no, that's goal off. It's not a goal. You got to be able to respond to that. And I felt that we really responded to that. And I think that from a mental side, we were really, really strong.
So you get to, through this overtime. And for those that don't know, let's talk about high school rules for a second. It used to be golden goal, right? Back in the day. That's when it was for us. You get into overtime, someone scores. It's over, right? Now it's 2 10-minute overtime periods that have to be completed. So you get to the end of this, and now there's another phase to this, right? It's the penalty shootout. And to be fair, how many years ago was it when they changed it back to where there's PKs?
Yeah, well, 1988 to 2007 or something, there were no PKs in the final. They had the co-championships. We saw a lot of those on the boys' side.
We did, yeah. De La Salle, right, went through that. So, So penalty shootouts have only been back around for 14, 15 years, give or take. And so now you're having to prepare for a shootout. During our seasons as players and coaches, we oftentimes would practice shootouts quite a bit. Is this something that you and your team practice a lot of in preparation for a playoff run on a regular basis?
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. I think most teams would, just because that's the rules of the game. That's the game that we play, and you gotta put the time into it. I don't think anybody can prepare for what you're going to deal with when you're in a game like that. There's no atmosphere that can prepare you for that. But yes, you have to prepare for that and be ready for that opportunity. And I think that was our first penalty shootout. Yeah,
it was.
It
was
in our state final.
Yep. And from a broadcasting point of view, I don't know if enough people practice penalty shootouts. Because I feel like, from my perspective, it's muscle memory. But I understand what you're saying, right? Because I was a player as a coach. I knew that, you stepping up to that moment cannot be easy. But a lot of times it's like, oh my goodness, do they practice this? And but here you are, it's a shootout. You guys win 2-1. I don't know. I don't have the stats. How many shots were taken? How many shots were taken?
We had 4, and I think Jenica, our goalkeeper, saved 2.
Okay.
And I mean, that's huge. When you have one of the best goalkeepers in the state of Michigan, that's going to give your shooters confidence.
For sure.
And she made some huge saves, and then it's up to our girls to have that confidence to put the ball in the back of the net.
Do you when you're going through this process of selecting kickers and things like that, do you have a I want to go first or a second mentality when it comes to shootouts, or does it matter?
Yeah, it does matter.
Okay. So what do you prefer?
I'm not going to give that away.
Fair enough. Okay. Bill Belichick has now entered the room.
The season starts in less than a month in terms of games. I mean, you might play in some tournament or, early in the season, like a Saturday tournament where you have to go into a shootout, so you don't want to give anything away.
That's fair. I'm not asking what way his players are going. I mean, geez Louise. So, okay, fair enough. Fair enough. I went too far. That's only with this though. That's actually not bad actually. Got to the end of the show too far, but okay. So, what it was a save? Did the game end in a win with a save or with a shot?
It was a shot.
Okay, which is equally great. What do you remember from that moment?
Yeah, that's special, man. I just remember, seeing our girls just run out there, and then I remember when I won it 99, my first year out of college with Andy Wagstaff at Losser, and it's my first year out of college, and I remember when we won, I was like, what do we do? And I look over at Andy, and he just jumps and he sprints out, and I remember that, and like we won, and it was on a golden goal then, but I remember we won, and all I remember is just sprinting. And it just sprinted out there, and ecstasy, just pure ecstasy and joy. And just to see our girls just doing another dog pile and seeing the joy on their faces. I mean, what a special moment,
So, for those that don't know, you're running out into a field after winning. There's a process of gathering players, back up. There's obviously the losing team that's, taking their time as well. There's a process getting back to the center of the field where now you're watching the team that that you just played against. They're now collecting their medals first, and then you guys are going to get your medals, and they're all going to line up. And then so that moment, I'm sure you took it all in, but that moment for you as you're watching your players receiving their medals, and then that moment you hand that trophy is handed to you as the head coach. Mm-hmm. What's that like for you?
Yeah, it was special. Just again being in the moment. Again, it didn't really hit me until later, but just so proud of those girls. That's what really hit me is just when you start to reflect now, just all those great moments, the winning a district final, man down, beating the defending state champs in regionals, beating a tough Portage team, and then beating an undefeated Northville team, and to see the work that they put in through the year, and the confidence and the ups and the downs and the grit and just joy and pride for our girls and what they did, and I'm just really happy with the culture that they had built, because that was what they deserve with what they put into it.
So you get this trophy, you hand it off to your team. There's I'm sure a tremendous celebration that takes place. Do you receive a bath?
I didn't this time.
Yeah. Oh, you did not?
I did not. Yeah.
I think, they dropped the ball. They forgot.
Yeah. I think they tried to get my assistant coach, Tristan, but yeah, I think there was too many other things going on for them to, we were just running out to the field and piling on each other after a penalty shootout, and so nobody thought about the bath at that time.
So I don't know if things have changed at the state finals, but when 97, as soon as we won, there was a Jostens rep that was like right there that met us with hot dogs. And we were like literally like, congratulations, guys. We're going to give you your rings. We're going to do your ring. Is that still happen?
No, but we didn't meet with Justin.
Okay. But they like, we're going to do your ring. So it was like, okay, cool. So and we got a T-shirt that said, finalists, or we won the champions. What's that celebration like? Because now there's, you do this on-field celebration. Then there's like a trip home, or you're going to a restaurant. Where are you guys going?
Yeah, we went home, and everything. It was kind of late. So there was my coaches and I got together, and Yeah, I had a late night that night, but you know, we enjoyed ourselves. We actually set something up with our program. We went to another banquet facility and had a celebration, which was awesome. You know, so that we set that up like a week later for all of our players and families to come out to, and that was awesome. And we got to have another celebration after that. So it was cool.
And then there's a ring. And you guys got rings.
We got our rings. Yeah, we got our rings. Right before Christmas, you know, we had a lot of time to plan it, and you know, we got to celebrate at halftime of a football game, and you know, a lot of other different cool things that just kind of come with it, and that's where it comes in, where you just don't realize the enormity of it until all these things kind of come through.
It's just so cool. It's so cool. My last question for you before I get into some bonus questions is what advice would you give to another coach who was in the same spot as you last year?
In the final?
Yep, in the final.
I'd say enjoy it, trust yourself. I think those would be the big things, you know, is just, and have fun with it.
Very cool. So we ask this question a lot of times of the people, the players we interview, not necessarily the coaches. So I want to start it now. I have 2 questions for you. You're a doctor, so they're probably going to be on the healthier side, but either way. What is your go-to meal?
Pre-game?
Doesn't matter. Your go-to meal.
My go-to meal.
Yeah, you know, if you're going out on the town or whatever, but what is your go-to meal? I don't like saying food anymore because I feel like, you know, if I'm asking me, I want steak and lobster on a plate with some mashed potatoes, right? But what is your go-to meal?
Go-to meal. That's a good one. I would say probably pizza and salad.
Dang. Okay. Is there a place?
Oh, there's a lot of places.
Oh, well, you're out in Troy, right? So.
Well, no, I live in Birmingham.
Birmingham. So there's a lot of good places in Birmingham.
A lot of good places in Birmingham.
There's Tomatoes.
Tomatoes is awesome. One of my faves.
Crispelli's is not that far, right?
Brooklyn Pizza.
Primo's Pizza in Birmingham.
Oh, yeah.
That's one of the best, I think, in the Detroit area.
I mean, Tomatoes is great, but Tomatoes charges you $100 for a pie, so it's like, you know,
pretty good though.
it's really good, but
yeah.
All right, okay. Well, and then this next question is going to be on the sweeter side. Your go-to candy.
Reese's peanut butter cups.
Oh, amen.
all day.
Oh, okay. Oh, good. Any last questions for the man before we let him go?
Well, Nate, you've had almost an entire year to celebrate. I mean, spring sports start 2 weeks from today, but you're going to enter next season with a little bit of a bigger bullet on your back, not just because you play in the OA Red Division, because you made a run to the Final Four and you won the state championship. I mean, what do you approach the upcoming season differently, and kind of look forward to what do you expect? I mean, that league was loaded last year; it should be loaded again. Who do you think are going to be some of the other teams to beat across the state?
Yeah, no, I think OA Red's always going to be loaded. I mean, I think looking back from last year, I would think that Rochester's going to be a tough team. You know, just playing them, they gave us a really tough game last year, and I think they're returning a lot of players. You know, so I think they're going to be a really tough team. You know, I think this year's last year was last year. That was 2022. This is 2023. Totally different team, totally different year, but we're going to chase it. You know, 2023 is going to chase, and we're going to hunt. You know, we're going to hunt for another championship on our end, and that's going to be our mentality going forward.
Do you have a lot of kids back, or do you have some question marks to fill?
Yeah, we lost a great senior class. I think we lost 6 players from last year, but they were outstanding. You know, and you know, I think you know, they're going to be a handful to replace. But I think we got a great core coming back, and great culture, great leadership, great young players. Our JV team, I think, was undefeated last year, if I'm not mistaken. So outstanding JV team with players coming in. And so we're excited for the season. We're ready to go.
Well, very cool. Well, I think we're ready to go too. I mean, so it was a great show. Alan, we appreciate you joining us and sharing, you know, that path to it from a championship last year, and we appreciate making the trek out here tonight.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Love to join you guys some other time.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's MSN Weekly here. It's our last show of February. Tomorrow we're back with the overlap. We're going to talk about, again, U.S. coaches. Who should the U.S. hire? Jurgen Klinsmann just was picked up today by South Korea, and he's the new head coach of South Korea. So a lot to talk about tomorrow morning. Craig Hearn will join me here in the studio at our normal time, 10 a.m. tomorrow morning here. We'll be back on Thursday with the morning overlap. We'll be talking about the MLS. It's season kicked off this past weekend. We'll get into that and so much more. We'll be back next week with Josh Hickey from Rochester Adams. And as we head into the rest of March, we got a good lineup coming your way. We got Eric Pogue joining us on the 13th, Neil Rule joining us on the 20th. So, but again, for Dan Stickrat, Alan Zakaria, I'm Jonathan Turner. MSN Weekly is out. We'll see you next time on Michigan Soccer Network.